No, it's this is awesome when you think about it. You guys are like my long lost cousins. We're all in the same family, guys. You've got an Asian cousin here in Primerica, okay? So when you see me in a big event, just wave and say hi. You know, I've been doing this 18 years, and I actually come from a computer background, information technology. So you could tell I was very well equipped to do this financial stuff. No, not even close. I went to UCLA and I graduated Pace University with an information technology degree. And out of college, I went and worked a law firm for 2 years. And I got recruited from a cold market. Someone just randomly emailed me. Anybody remember Monster.com back in the day? Like late 90s, early 2000s. Some of the Generation Zs are like, what the heck is that? Back then, you would send your resume out on Monster.com and all these other sites. And I had sent out a bunch of resumes. 2 years later, someone just randomly emails me from Primerica. And they asked the magic question. They said, are you keeping your income options open? Now, I didn't know this person from Adam. I didn't know who this person was, just randomly emailed me. And they invited me to an opportunity meeting. And back then, we did it in Midtown Manhattan. There were like 10 RVPs that just got together, and I remember there was like 100 guests. Like every week, every Wednesday night, there were like imagine an op meeting with 100 guests. But back then, predominantly, it was all cold market. And I remember sitting, I was very proper. I had my three-piece suit on, I had my briefcase, and because that's what they taught us to do, right? And I remember walking into that hotel room with 100 people, and they sat me in the first row. The lights dimmed, the projector was on, and here I'm thinking that I'm there for an interview. First speaker comes up and starts talking, and I'm looking around like, are they gonna do an intro and then bring me into another room? Like, what's the deal here? By the second and third speaker, I'm like, oh hell, what the heck is going on? What is this? I didn't understand business. I didn't understand finance. I didn't understand being an entrepreneur. I was a 24-year-old kid, knew nothing about this stuff. And by the fourth speaker was Carlos Salazar, who was my upline, but he wasn't the one that emailed me. And I remember asking the question. I said, right after an opportunity meeting, I went up to Carlos and I remember asking him, so, not quite sure, but do I get an office? You know what his reply was? Yeah, they're working on some space upstairs. And this was a hotel, mind you, right? It's under construction right now, but I got an office in New Jersey. You can plug into my office. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with like New York geography. I live in the suburbs. I lived in the suburbs in this place called Long Island. Carlos had an office in New Jersey. In order to get to New Jersey, you had to cross two bridges. And when you cross the bridges, you have to pay this thing called toll. It was $4, and on the way back, another $4. I think the round trip would be like, I don't know, $14, $15. And we did that for years, just commuting. Why? Because there was no Zoom. This was pre-Zoom, and a lot of the newer teammates, newer Primericans, are going to be scratching their head. What pre-Zoom? What is that? You mean we have to come into an office? Yeah, that's what we had to do. That's all we had. Let me fast forward, and I think stories help kind of illustrate the business. There's a lot of lessons in there. When I came into the business, much like in your hierarchy, I came into a recruiting hierarchy, and they always said introduce everyone to the business, at least get them exposed to Primerica. And I know what y'all thinking. A lot of you guys are like, yeah, but I know my people. You know that age-old saying where they say hindsight is 2020, right? You look back and you're like, when you were a kid or teenager, some of you guys are kids and teenagers already, but when you look back and you think, oh, that's why. Oh, okay, I had to do this for this to happen. And you look back and they kind of, it's almost like connect the dots. These events in your life happen for a reason. I don't know how many of you guys are believers, but you know, things happen for a reason. And I look back and I say, you know, hindsight is 2020. Foresight is blurry at best. And when they said, "Hey, you got to introduce everyone to the business," I said to myself, "Yeah, but you don't know my friends." See, my friends all they went to NYU, Columbia. I had a bunch of nerdy friends, and ironically, they were all majoring in finance, except this one friend. His name is James. We call him Cuz, like everyone's cousin, right? Hey, Cuz. So I remember thinking to myself, yeah, but out of all the people, he would definitely not be interested. Yeah, anybody have anyone like that, right? You just rule them out. You're like, nope, not even, don't even bother. Not even gonna call them. And I don't know if they were doing an incentive, if Carlos did an incentive or something, how many guests would get, I don't know, a lollipop or something. But you know how Primerica does it, right? And I said, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna invite him. I know he's not gonna be interested. So I invite him. He comes out to the op meeting, and what did I say? Like, as I can recall, there was no fancy script. I called him up. I said, hey, Cuz, what are you doing Wednesday? Now, why do I start off like that? Because he doesn't know what I'm asking for. I could have courtside tickets to the Knicks game if for all he knows. Maybe bad example, all right? But the point is, if I could have had a double date, right? I could have just called him up and, hey, what are you doing Wednesday night? And you know, he kind of fishes around. Why? What's going on? What's up? I said, I need your help. I need you to come check something out, and then afterwards we can grab a beer. That was my tagline, my famous tagline. I'll buy you a beer afterwards. Just come down and check it out. He comes down, takes a look at the op meeting, and I said all the wrong things. I said, so what did you think? That's a terrible question, by the way, okay? But I was kind of rough around the edges. I said, so what did you think? And he said, no, man, this isn't for me. And in my mind, if I can illustrate to you, it was like an animation, a cartoon animation. I said, aha, I told you Primericans that he was not going to be interested. You didn't believe me. If only I knew. If only I knew. A few months later, he calls me up and he goes, Dave, you still doing that Primerica thing? Yeah, first of all, I'm doing this. I'm still doing Primerica. Yeah, why? He goes, my mom's shopping around for life insurance, and you know, just come over. So I came over, and I think she got quoted between her and her husband a whole life policy for like $650 a month. The dad was a smoker, right? $650. We gave them $300,000 of coverage each for like $330, as I recall. That's a big difference, right? That's a big difference. But if you close a $330 life app, how many of you guys would be excited? That was that was my biggest life app in my career at that point. I think I was like a newly licensed rep at that point. Pretty exciting. But hindsight is 2020, right? We look back and we can connect the events of everything that happened. What I did not anticipate was that was going to be my first death claim that I was ever going to pay out. Who would have known? There's a lot of lessons that we can learn, even from our own experiences, our own stories. And I look back from a friend that I knew that was not going to be interested. And you know what's scary is a lot of you guys have people in your lives that you still have not exposed to this business. You know, the moral of the story is they don't have to be a client. They don't have to be a recruit. But everybody that you know should, at the very least, know what it is that you do because of the people that they could refer you to. Now, the story gets better. Same friend, Cuz, years later, he calls me up. He says, hey, bro, you still doing that Primerica thing? Once again, Cuz, I'm still doing Primerica. Yes, I am. Why? He goes, hey, I have this young lady that I used to go to church with, and she's looking for life insurance. I said, okay. She's a young 23-year-old girl looking for life insurance? All right, well, I'll meet up with her. Give me her number. Now there's some lessons in there too. As soon as I got the number, I called her. I didn't wait it out. I didn't wait a couple of days to work up the courage and have my upline help me make the phone call. I just called. And you know what I said? I said, "Hi, we have a mutual friend. That referred me over to you. He tells me that you wanted some more information about some income protection life insurance." She goes, "Sure." She goes, "I'm right now. I'm very busy right now, but I said, hey, where are you? Where do you reside?" She goes, "To the Bronx." I said, "Hey, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna be in the Bronx tomorrow night. I'm gonna be meeting up with some clients up there." And just so you guys know, I had no appointments the next night. But I was gonna be in her neighborhood. Sure I was, right? So we met up at a diner and we talked. And we helped her understand the need for life insurance. In fact, she was the sole breadwinner. She was trying to get life insurance on her mom. But the mom wasn't working. She was the provider. So could I have sold a bigger policy? Sure, I could have. But what made better sense at the time was making sure that she got income protection for herself because she was the breadwinner. What ended up happening is we ended up recruiting her too. And some of you guys may know her. Her name is Grace Kim. She's an RVP that we override. She earns over $300,000 a year. Man, what the heck? From the same friend who I knew was not interested. Holy smokes, we just don't know. We just don't know. The company paid us over $72,000 in overrides just from her business last year. That's crazy, guys. In overrides. Pure overrides. I don't know about you guys, but we can all use an extra $72,000, right? So I'm hitting up all my friends and saying, "Hey, you got to refer me to people." Second story I just want to share really quickly. During our building stages, Carlos, my upline, asked us to do a lot of things. Remember I talked to you guys about the crossing the bridges and the tunnels and all that stuff and paying the tolls? Well, Carlos had this thing he called the play, and he used to do this thing called Power Hour. Anybody familiar with Power Hour in here? Power Hour? Oh, bro, let me just tell you, I dreaded Power Hour. And he did Power Hour on Sunday evenings of all the days to do it. Sunday evenings at 6 p.m. I hated Power Hour. You know why I hated Power Hour? Because it was so inconvenient. Well, nobody ever said success is convenient, right? And I remember this was like, it was in May. It was a beautiful Sunday. I still remember it. It was like, I remember when he would call us up and rally us for Power Hour. And I'm here in Long Island, and I'm thinking, man, I don't want to drive all the way there. I don't even really have any numbers to call. So you know what I did? I started calling up some of my teammates to try and pick them up and drive them over to Power Hour. At least get some, productivity. So the one person that actually picked up my call, this girl named Cindy, that really didn't do much. And I said, "Hey, we need to get your business going. I'm on my way to pick you up." Yeah, pretty assumptive, huh? And I picked her up, and we drove all the way to New Jersey, paying the tolls and everything. I said, "All right." We sat down. I said, "All right, take your phone out, right? We're going to make some phone calls. We're going to schedule some things." She pulled out her phone, the flip phone back then, right? And I'm dating myself, right? And when people say, "I don't know a lot of people," and people just say that a lot of times, and you go, all right, check out your phone. I bet you got like 100 names and numbers in there. Well, no exaggeration. This girl, Cindy, had 5 numbers in her phone book, 5 names. And like, I think 2 or 3 of them were like Pizza Hut and like her mom, right? And honestly, I remember feeling like, you ever get those feelings where you just feel so discouraged? Like, oh my gosh, I don't even know why I'm here. Why am I here? Why am I here in New Jersey? Why did I drive all the way here for this? So what we did was we called the whole 3 people that she had on her phone, and they didn't even pick up. And I remember leaving voicemails. That power hour was not an hour. I think we made about 5 minutes of phone calls, and I was just flustered. And I said, pack up, we're getting out of here. On the way home, somebody calls back. And she was so nervous. Her hand was shaking. Like, she passed on the phone to me like within 30 seconds. And I said we used the script. Hi, how are you? My name is David Kim. I'm working with Cindy. Cindy recommended us to you. She says that you're sharp, ambitious. You know, the usual script. We're having an open house and orientation this upcoming Wednesday. So I invited her. She came down. And just to emphasize, remember we talked about hindsight is 2020? Who would have thought this girl who came down to the op meeting would be my wife today? It's crazy how things work out. It's crazy. My wife. I recruited my wife. So if we got any single people out there, more of the story, go to your power hour. No, just look, you just don't know. You don't know who you meet along the way. And that's the power. That's the power of just being able to get yourself out there. And I share those stories with you because, once again, we all have people in our lives. If you've lived in this country for even a year, this country, especially in Zoom land, there's so much potential. There's just so many people. We've got to start conducting we've got to have an abundance mentality. My mom used to ask me, so, have you run out of people yet? Anybody ever feel like that? Like afraid that you're going to run out of people? Yeah. But you realize, Veronica, you can meet one person that maybe grew up in this area and they've got like 50 cousins. One person. I'm going to share a really quick analogy with you. So, Veronica, let me ask you, if we opened up a restaurant together, and let's just call it a sushi restaurant. The funny thing about sushi is people either love it or they hate it, right? But if we're going to have a grand opening at our sushi restaurant, who would we invite? Who will we invite? Friends? Family? Sure. Now, Veronica, what's your best friend's name? I wish I could read lips. Okay, let's just say she said Susan, right? And Susan does not like sushi. Would you invite her to the grand opening? Lydia says yes. Of course! And the question is why? Oh, because I want Susan to support me in my business. Exactly. See, whether Susan likes sushi or raw fish or fish in general, whether she likes it or not, I could give a flying crap. I don't really care, Susan. You better get your behind down to my grand opening, is what the comments will be. Why? Because I promise you, Veronica, that Susan knows other people that like sushi. Are you guys getting the point? Right? Business is simply about exposure. I don't expect my family and friends to eat at my restaurant every night, but I darn well expect them to support me. I expect them to refer me to other people that can eat at my restaurant. There's nothing different except what we do in a business like this. For the most part, a lot of us, we prejudge and we make comments like, yeah, but my uncle, he's set. He works for the city. He works for the government. He's got good benefits. I don't give a flying crap. It doesn't even matter about that. It's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. It's about exposure. And that's the beauty of a business like this. And we can't take it personally. If I ask Lydia, who's my aunt, and I said, Lydia, hey, do me a favor. I'm going through some training. I need your help. I need 20, 30 minutes of your time to meet with my trainer to fulfill my requirement for my training. Can you help me out? What would she say? Sure. I know these are fundamentals, and some of you guys are probably very, very proficient and very good at this. But if we just stick to that, if we focus a lot of our attention in the front end of the business, which this business operates the best in, all of a sudden you start having a ton of activity. Sometimes we get so sophisticated and we want to learn all like the letter Z, the letter X, the letter Y. Hold up, we're not there yet. If we focus from A to like M, and that's where we focus the majority of our business, you would be surprised on how much activity is created, how exciting this business gets on the front end of our business. So I'm almost done with my time, and honestly, we're all in the same business. And I always tell our team this: whatever circumstances or challenges that you're going through, I promise you, we will find somebody in Primerica that's going through the exact same situation as you, except they figured out how to win despite those obstacles. We had a big event. We had he's a young kid, future RVP. He's blind. And he's getting all the recruiting recognition. Why? Because all day long, his partner sets him up on the Zoom and he's just talking all day long. If a blind person in Primerica can recruit 10 directs a month, there's absolutely no reason why us, if we've got health, if we've got mobility, we can't do more, right? Can I get an amen to that one, right? I'm telling you guys, this fires me up. Looking at a crowd like this, looking at a group like this, man, there's nothing that we cannot do in a business like this, but it all has to do with our belief system. We can do it. We've been born to do more than what we've been able to accomplish thus far in life. I truly believe that. We've got so much more potential. We just got to go apply it. New Year's is coming up, guys. Right? Don't wait till January 1st to start your New Year's resolution. Start now. Gain the momentum, gain the traction, so the moment January 1st hits, your business is already up and going. Well, that's all I got for you guys this morning. Proud to be in business with you guys. Look forward to seeing you guys wherever in the company trip. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. All right, so we got some more numbers, and then we got some closing speakers, and we'll set